Hi, we're Paul and Amanda Lee, and this is Josephine. She is 3 years old. You say hi?
Hi.
My name is Benny Barnard. I'm 13.
Oh, my name is Christina C. And this is Abigail and Ryan.
We are the Mickelsons, right?
Mira O'Brien. Oh, this is Gabriel. How old are you?
4.
And Natalie was over there. She is 1.5. This is Aubrey.
And I am Trisha, her mom.
My name is Laurel Shaw. I'm 11.
When Josephine was born, there were some complications immediately after birth, and she was instantly diagnosed with hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy.
So Josephine had, when she was born, was air flighted to the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics. It was just fortunately that there was a helicopter team prepared for her, as the treatment that she needed had to be done within the first 6 hours of her birth.
My diagnosis is acute lymphoblastic leukemia. When I was 4, I was diagnosed with cancer after my mother took me to the hospital twice. They called us right away saying, you gotta get to Iowa City, your child has cancer. Didn't have time to pack,
We had time to pack.
Dad said we didn't have time to pack.
We went to Iowa City and they had to get his kidneys stabilized because his kidneys were shutting down from the wasting the cancer cells. Once they did that, that was on a Saturday afternoon. They did the bone marrow biopsy on Monday, and by Tuesday we had an official diagnosis.
We are here with Abigail. She was diagnosed with prematurity. She was born at 25 weeks gestation. That's 4 months early. And then just a couple months ago, we went to Gillette Children's Hospital in Minnesota, and she was diagnosed with a mild case of cerebral palsy. And it affects her legs and motor skills. So she falls, she wears braces. So that's what we get to go to therapy and have lots of fun and hang out with all of you guys.
We have Cole here, who was 5 years old. He was diagnosed with leukemia, B-cell leukemia, here at the beginning of June. He ended up with a 10-day fever before we made it down to the University of Iowa and received his diagnosis down there. And I think total he ended up having the fever for 20 days before it finally broke. But he's a trooper. Thank God he doesn't mind getting poked with a needle.
Bronchomalacia and Erb's palsy.
So bronchomalacia is a disorder where the cartilage doesn't form in your bronchial tubes. So for Mira, that means she has difficulty coughing bacteria and such up from her lungs. So she gets a lot of lung infections and also has some asthma associated with that. And Erb's palsy is a brachial plexus nerve injury. So when she was born, the left side of her body was paralyzed. Now she's not paralyzed, but she's got some gross and fine motor weakness and kind of some inabilities to be coordinated as far as one side from the other.
Some range of motion.
Range of motion issues.
Issues.
So.
And he was diagnosed with L Kappa, which is the anomalous left coronary artery from the pulmonary artery.
He was diagnosed just before 4 months old, and then we had an ambulance ride to Iowa City where we stayed for 4 days before they took our baby into surgery, and 3 to 5 hour surgery turned into 14 hours. He came back on 2 different forms of life support. His chest was open for 5 days. We spent a total of 33 days in Iowa City recovering. We came back, we were in the hospital several times after that. Then about a year later, he came down with several respiratory infections, which sent him into worsening heart failure. And we've struggled with that every year. His mitral valve has gotten worse. And he will be having another surgery in a few years or so.
She
was diagnosed with transposition of the great arteries. In December of 2015, we had a routine ultrasound and found out they were suspecting that she had transposition of the great arteries. We had a follow-up echo with Gabriel's pediatrician and cardiologist, and they ruled that there was a 70% chance she was healthy. And then 2 weeks after the echo, we were given the heartbreaking news that she was did have transposition of the great arteries. So we had several months to prepare for her. She was born in April of 2016 and was immediately intubated. She had surgery at 5 days, and she's been amazing ever since.
Aubrey was diagnosed with ALL, which is acute lymphoblastic leukemia, just before she turned 2. Leukemia is a cancer of the blood. We first realized that she had this when she stopped walking after being sick for a good week, spiking really high fevers, and then she didn't want to put any weight on her legs. So it turned out that her bone marrow, the stuff inside your bones, in her hips, was spilling out these cancer cells, making it very painful. So then after that, we were on our way to Iowa City and started treatment right away.
On September 12th of 2016, Laurel had fallen off a yoga ball and got a hematoma on her spinal cord. When she fell, she was crying. I was upstairs and we thought it was just, she was fine. It was just a yoga ball, and then when we went downstairs, she was screaming more than what I thought she would. She didn't cry when she broke her arm, but the year before. So then we took her to Instacare, and they said, well, let's get her to St. Luke's. That's a hospital in Cedar Rapids. And then when we were putting her into my van, I felt her legs go limp. And then I looked at her and I asked her, Laurel, can you feel your legs? She's like, yes, but I cannot move them.
I am more than
Hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy.
I am more than acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
I am more than cerebral palsy and prematurity. I am more than B-cell leukemia.
I am more than
Erb's palsy and bronchomalacia.
We are more than El Kappa and transposition of the great arteries.
I'm more than a hematoma on my spine. I am more than leukemia.